yeah, the silence here is very palpable in nature. So it's like nature is the ultimate sanctuary to connect with God. And really, it's not about doing it in a perfect way. I'm really, really imperfect in how I follow the path of that God has laid out for me. I just really want to know what that is. For example, in relationship, it's super difficult to do it perfectly. I mean, you're gonna do it imperfectly anyways, but it's so difficult in relationship because, like, that's when that's when our emotions really come to the forefront of our consciousness. Like if you're alone a lot, you don't know what is kind of in your subconscious. So it really comes out when you are kind of confronted with really, really personal, issues and emotions and situations with a lover or a soulmate. And that's exactly what's happened to me the last almost 2 years. Recently, I separated from my ex-girlfriend. You can kind of see here there's a nice rock formation area with some aspens. So it's extremely beautiful here. Perfect hiking conditions today. But as I was saying, it's a year and a half of really a lot of difficulty for me because a lot of emotions came to the forefront of my consciousness and a lot of confusion, like falling in love with somebody so deeply, but having it be really difficult to be with them because of my issues and because of their issues. What ended up happening was I thought it would be possible to, like, spend my life with somebody who has a lot of trauma, lots of trauma, had a really difficult childhood, and then that I thought that would be possible, to overcome or to be open to. But what I kind of decided was I don't really want to be miserable for so long in my life. Ultimately, I have the decision to follow the best path that God has laid for me. And let's see, it looks like I'm following the Raccoon Trail. So it's a loop, so I can go either direction. So let's go to Panorama Point. Let's go to Panorama Point. So I made the decision to follow God's path, which was to really dive into the relationship as much as I can so I could learn as much as I can about love, about others, about romance. But then, decide, okay, I learned what I needed to learn, and I'm going to take those lessons into the next chapter of my life. So that's what I decided. But it's super difficult saying goodbye to somebody that feels like a soulmate. There's some huge aspen here. Really beautiful here. Man, it's difficult saying goodbye to a soulmate. I don't think that there's just one. Really, a lot of it is like circumstantial. Who's in front of you at this moment, who is in your heart now. And I feel like, for example, marriage is a decision ultimately that you make. It's not like you have the potential to marry anybody, right? It's like, well, maybe you fall in love with, say, 5 people, in your life, right? Really, you have to choose one to marry. But it is possible, to be with somebody for 5, 10, 15 years, and you learn your lessons, you learn your struggles, you learn about yourself, you learn about them, you learn about psychology, you learn about God, you learn about love, and then you move on. But you can't, I wouldn't say it's really healthy to go right from one relationship to the next. There needs to be that gap of, say, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year plus. But really, I don't think that you would maybe need more than a year of grieving, like fully saying goodbye to the person in your heart. You're going to see them again in heaven and in your next life. But in this life, you need to say goodbye. So it's a death. It is definitely a death. Because you're not talking. There's no way that you can communicate with them anymore. It's completely no communication. So just getting them out of your consciousness. They don't leave your heart. They'll never leave your heart. But getting them out of your mind, I think, can free your emotions so that it comes back to yourself fully before you can re-share your heart with your next soulmate or your next lover. That's kind of how I'm seeing it now. So I'm in this period where I just ended. Well, it didn't just end. Really, it was a really slow goodbye. A very slow goodbye, because this was only like the second time I really had to say goodbye to someone I really, really loved. And this time I was the one who made the decision to leave and part. Oh wow, it's so beautiful back here. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful. It would be very beautiful in the fall here, with the fall colors. Lots of aspen. Some of the colors are already changing here on the ground. So you can see here, it's starting to sprinkle a little bit. It's not going to stop me though. But honestly, the best relationship is the one that you have with God, and all the ways that God manifests in your life, whether it's an angel or any way that God manifests. Spirit guides, silence, nature. Like, just think about, like, what way do I feel closest to God? Is it in the mountains? Or is it when I play sports? Or is it when I pray? Or is it when I'm meditating in silence for 2 hours a day? Whatever is your way. For me, it's a huge mix. And as I've said before in my last video, a lot of it is being in nature, especially in the mountains. But also meditating in silence as well is when I feel closest to God. But also with others. That's why, I don't say I'm just like a regular monk. I live in the world, very much so. And so relationship, for example, I'm with my cousins this weekend, camping with them in their RV. Normally I'm tenting. But this time, I'm switching it up and doing the bonfire thing, the RV thing, and haven't really done that before. So I'm always down to try something new. I'm always down to connect with others. And for me, connecting with others is another path to God, or another manifestation of love, God's love. So you don't want to be too much alone, but you also don't want to be too much with people. So you just got to figure out on your own, kind of listen to your body, listen to your heart. For me, I can kind of hear when I've been around people too much, or if I've been alone too much. Then I kind of just make an adjustment, like, okay, well, I'm going to hang out with friends this weekend. Or if I feel like I've been alone a lot, maybe I'll call my parents or call family or call a friend. But if I, like after a family reunion or something like that, it's great to connect, but then it's also great to come back and like maybe cleanse the body, really immerse yourself in silence for the next week. Maybe just walk in nature and just kind of really get back in touch with your own self and like your direct connection to God, like below, above, around, whichever way that you directly connect to God, and really connecting with that again after being with others so often. Like you can lose yourself in the group think, the group mentality. You kind of forget like it can be easy to be distracted with others, because you kind of see like, oh, my emotions are getting mixed up with theirs, or I mistake their emotions for mine, especially as a sensitive spiritual person. You might take on others' emotions, which if other people aren't spiritual, their emotions can be very overwhelming. Well, emotions in general are overwhelming for everybody, but like because they identify so heavily with the emotions and their ego is so thick and palpable, it's not their fault. But it's just that how they identify in this life is as their emotions and as their mind, as their ego, as their fear. And as one continues to meditate and be in nature and dedicate their life to God, that kind of stuff really decreases and reduces, and you don't identify with it so much, and things just kind of flow naturally in and out of you. You become the space through which these emotions flow. And yes, it can be overwhelming, but it doesn't overpower, right? It doesn't overpower you so much. It can, especially if it's like a total heartbreak, saying goodbye to a lover or a soulmate, that can be overwhelming. But kind of daily things don't overwhelm you as much. So that's kind of the things I've been thinking about recently. Just wanted to show you guys the hike. It's really nice here. And just check in. So I'll see you guys again soon. Peace from the mountains. Peace from Colorado. Bye-bye.